So in the previous video, we have seen the different types of prototypes, and in this video, we shall now be moving on to different kinds of tests that can be performed. So a test is a tool that is used to measure either the conformance with requirement or conformance with the guidelines for a good design, or to identify the design problems, or to learn how easy is the system learning, and then to retain how to retain learning over time, and then speed of task completion, speed of need fulfillment, the error rates, and the subjective user requirements. A test is usually formal. It is created and applied intentionally with a purpose. It is usually based upon some kind of criteria, an understanding of what a good result would be. A test is usually comprised of one or more elements such as observation, comparison, listening, and measure. So, what do we mean by observation? Most tests include some form of observation. It may be like watching the user performance tasks, or an evaluator or inspector reviewing or evaluating the aspects of the system. So, similarly, comparison. The interface could be compared with standards or guidelines or the usability requirements. It may also be compared to the evaluator's knowledge and experience concerning the qualities of good interface. Then comes listening. The user is often asked to provide comments or opinions concerning the usability of the interface. So, evaluators often make similar statements. Listening may be informal, such as being a response to a question, or may be more formal, collected from listening to some audio or video recording. Responses may also be gathered indirectly by reading responses to some questionnaires. Followed by measures. So, measures may be taken to ascertain how well the interface complies with the usability requirements. Quantitative values such as time to complete a task or the number of errors are then collected. Thus, several testing techniques at varying levels of sophistication and cost are available to exercise the system. These techniques include guidelines, standard reviews, some heuristic evaluations, cognitive walkthroughs, think aloud evaluations, usability tests, classic experiments, and focus groups. A guideline or standards review is an inspection of an interface's navigation, screen design, and layout, and the accessibility in the context of the organization's standards and design guidelines or the governmental standards. A checklist summarizing a system's standards or guideline document is prepared and is used as the basis for this comparison. Failure to accomplish these guidelines or standards indicate that the design modification may still be necessary. So, what is the advantage of performing this review? The software developers can perform this kind of test as its advantages include its low cost and its ability to identify recurring and general problems. It is particularly useful in identifying screen design and layout problems. But the disadvantages are because of this review that tends to be static in nature, it may miss severe conceptual, navigation, and operational problems. So, what is heuristic evaluation? Heuristic evaluation is a detailed evaluation of a system by interface design specialist to identify the problems. In this heuristic evaluation, interface specialist tries to study the system in depth and looks for properties they know from their experience and try to identify what would lead to problems. The interface is then judged for its compliance with recognized usability principles, the heuristics, and then these evaluations are also referred to as inspections and expert reviews. The advantages of performing heuristic evaluation is it is relatively easy to do and its cost is fairly low. It does not waste the user's valuable time. It also can identify many usability problems. But the disadvantages include that the evaluators should possess user interface expertise. This greatly restricts the population from which evaluators are chosen. Because of small size of this available group, evaluators may not possess adequate understanding of system tasks and the user communities. Even expert reviewers have great difficulty knowing how typical users, especially for the first time users, will really behave. With this method of evaluation, it is difficult to identify deeper design problems, including system wide structural problems, missing exits, and missing interface elements or features. It is also difficult to identify the most important problems among these documents. Finally, this method does not provide any systematic way to generate solutions to the problems that are left uncovered. So, therefore, it is suggested that the optimum expert group size to satisfactorily perform a heuristic evaluation is to be fixed to either 3 to 5 people. It is found that different evaluators tend to find different problems, and one person will never be able to find the number of usability problems that several people will. So, ideally, evaluators should be similar with the project situation, possess a long term relationship with developing organization, and possesses expertise in human computer interface design. So, the evaluation team can also be comprised of people with following expertise. The person or the usability expert must be experienced in conducting evaluations. He should also be a domain expert. People with knowledge of this domain must be included, and designers with extensive design experience are to be the part of the team, and developers without any formal usability training but who are keen to explore the usability defects that the users might experience must also be a part of this team. So then, moving on to heuristic evaluation process. In case of heuristic evaluation process, we try to select 3 to 5 evaluators as previously mentioned, and ideally the evaluators should be familiar with the project situation and possess a long-term relationship with the developing organization. Then try to prepare or assemble a project overview and a checklist of the heuristics. A useful checklist may be available from one or more evaluators. Examples of checklists provide a briefing to evaluators to review the purpose of evaluation session, to preview the entire evaluation process that is being undertaken, to present the project overview and heuristics, and to answer any questions that the evaluators may have. Any special evaluator training that may be necessary can also be provided at this point in time. So, how do we conduct these sessions? Each evaluator should inspect the system alone, not in the presence of other evaluators. This is to ensure independent and unambiguous evaluations from each evaluator. Allow the evaluators to establish their own process or method of reviewing the system. Ideally, let the evaluators use the system without procedural assistance. And if, however, the evaluators are not familiar with the system's content and purpose, they may be provided with scenarios listing the steps a user would take to perform a sample set of realistic user tasks. During the session, evaluators will compare their findings with a list of usability principles. Then the detected problems should be related to the specific heuristics they violate. Multiple heuristics can be linked to any one identified problem. Other relevant problems or issues can also be noted, and 2 or more passes should be made through the system. The evaluator's comment can then be recorded either by the evaluator or by an observer, and the evaluator written comments require additional efforts by the evaluator during the review process and can break the continuity of the evaluation process. Having an observer record the evaluator's verbal comments adds the overhead of the session, but reduces the evaluator's workload and allows greater focusing on the review process. If the same observer is used for all the evaluation sessions, then the session result should be available faster because the observer only needs to understand and organize one set of personal notes and not multiple reports or reviews written by all the session participants. The observer may answer questions and provide hints to the evaluators as necessary. The evaluators not familiar with the system's content will occasionally need some advice, and also precious time will not be wasted by the evaluators struggle with the interface mechanics. The observer's comments should be restricted to the situation where evaluator is clearly confused or in trouble. So once the session is completed, all the evaluators and observers' notes have to be compiled holding a debriefing session, no more than 2 hours in length. Include all observers and the design team members and have each evaluator present the problems detected and the heuristics each violated, and then try to assemble a composite list of usability problems. Then discuss the design suggestions for improving the problematic aspect of the system. Thus, after the debriefing session, form a composite list of violations into ratings form. Request the evaluators to assign the ratings for severity that each violation scale, ranging from the usability catastrophe to not a usability problem. Then analyze the result and establish a program to correct the necessary violations and the deficiencies. The ratings will identify more serious problems that need immediate attention. Therefore, heuristic evaluations are useful in identifying many usability problems and should be part of testing. Performing this kind of evaluation before beginning the actual testing with the users will naturally eliminate many design problems and is one step along the path but towards a very usable development of a very usable system. So this table 14.4 shows possible web page heuristics. We now move on to cognitive walkthroughs. So it is the process of reviewing the interface in the context of the tasks the user performs. That is, in a cognitive walkthrough, developers or users walk through an interface in the context of representative user tasks. Individual task actions are examined and the evaluators try to establish a logical reason regarding why the user would perform each examined action. Actions are compared to the user's goals and knowledge. Discrepancies and problems are noted and analyzed, and the tasks are modified as necessary. Walkthroughs require that the task definition methodology must have been properly accomplished in the system's requirements stage. The user's goals and assumptions must also be clearly be defined before a walkthrough is performed. So what are the advantages of performing walkthroughs? It's clearly seen that the walkthroughs permit a clear evaluation of the task flow early in the design process before empirical user testing is possible. The earlier a design flaw can be detected, the earlier it can be fixed. They can also be used to evaluate alternate design solutions. Walkthroughs are of low cost and can be performed by developers. They are also more structured than heuristic evaluation, being less likely to suffer from subjective because of emphasis on user tasks, and walkthroughs are very useful for assessing exploratory learning first time use of a system without formal training. But cognitive walkthroughs are tedious to perform and it may miss inconsistencies and general and recurring problems and may appear to detect far more problems than actually existing ones compared to performance usability testing results. Like heuristic evaluations, walkthroughs appear to be most useful in identifying issues to evaluate in the usability test. Therefore, it is needed to conduct a walkthrough. The needed to conduct the walkthrough are the general description of the proposed system users and what relevant knowledge they possess, a specific description of one or more core or representative tasks to be performed, and a listing of correct actions required to complete each of these tasks. The walkthrough should review several core or representative tasks across a range of functions and then start with a simple task to get the brain flow. Do not get bogged down looking for solutions to problems. Avoid detailed screen designs. They often inhibit assessment of a big picture and try to limit this session to a maximum of 60 to 90 minutes. How are Think Aloud evaluations performed? So, in Think Aloud evaluation, users perform specific tasks while thinking aloud. The objective is to get the user to talk continuously. All comments are recorded, so all thoughts are captured and subtle points are not missed when analysis occurs. The advantage of performing this kind of evaluation is it utilizes actual representative tasks. It provides valuable insights into why the user does things because the users are continuously explaining what they are doing and concentration and focus on the task is how is the concentration and focus on a task improved. But the disadvantage of this think aloud evaluation is it may tend to be difficult to get all people to think because some may find the process distracting and very unnatural. The thought processes may also increase the task performance time and reduce the number of errors that would occur in a normal working environment. Talking while working may also be an exhaustive process than simply working. So, the guidelines suggest that you try to develop a core or representative task scenarios or scenarios of proposed tasks of particular concern and try to limit this evaluation session to a maximum of 60 to 90 minutes.